Alright guys, I want to introduce you to contact staff spinning with double staffs. Any of this contact stuff, it's best to learn it with a single staff first and then learn it in both hands so that you can start applying it to double staffs. And basically any contact move that you can do with one hand, like that, then you can do it with double staffs. It's just about figuring out how to get this one out of the way, you know. So without any further ado, let's do opposite direction butterfly thing right here, same time. Just add wrist rolls. This one is a little awkward when your arms are in the back like that because you really have to push your hands back behind the line of your body so that you don't hit yourself with the staffs. And you can do these in both directions. Like that. Basic thing for adding wrist rolls in there. You can also do that with split time by one in front and one in back, like that. This will kind of get you familiar with the basic idea of fishtails. If you have any idea what fishtails are, it's like if you're doing the wrist roll, instead of letting it roll all the way over, boom, bring it to the other side. It kind of makes it feel like it reverses direction, and so it rolls off the same side it rolled on. Boom. Once you get familiar with that, you can start repeating it and looping that, so it just kind of, as it's falling, you switch the side, so it falls on the other side. A good way to get familiar with just the kind of the wrist domination feeling is by doing these. You have to use your wrist a lot in the fishtails. That's the idea I was trying to express. I know it was just crazy sounding though. Now that we're a little more familiar with our wrists, something you can do is start adding the elbow in there. And because we're going to have a staff in this hand, we're not going to worry about catching it with this hand. We're going to make sure we can do the whole process with one arm. So the basic technique is wrist, when it's there, stuff your elbow into the way. When it's falling, catch it with this hand. Like that. We've got tutorials on that. I'll give you a link. So if we can do that, oh, and then the other thing we'll want to do is if you just completely reverse the process, you can stick it like that. So it's like, hold it off center so that the center can make it all the way up over your arm and make contact with it, boom. And then as it's coming down the front of your elbow, push your wrist in the way and catch it. There's a tutorial for that as well. But the idea is, if you're doing just one beats down here, that'll keep this staff out of the way so you can do that contact thing with this arm, right? And if we're going in the opposite direction, we'll also put it across our arm in the opposite direction. Like that. Oh man. Like that. So that's just taking something that you already probably know from single staff contact, finding what you can do with just one arm, and then adding it into the double staff. Another move is called the SNeS, and if you just do the NES part, or NES, then it's the idea, a neck roll. When it gets to this point, pull your head out of the way, stick your shoulder in the way, and it'll roll off your shoulder like that. So it's neck, shoulder, and then you catch it. So you can initiate that and end it with the same arm. Then you can do that with two if you just find a way to get the other staff out of the way. Like that. So that's, and just like with the elbow wrist one, we can do that forward as well. Like that. Getting a little ahead here, but a cool thing that you can do is if you add a pass to that move, then you can switch which hands the staff's in so you can end it with this hand. See if I can show you that one. Bam, like that. Something like that. That was better because I ended in the right direction anyway. And now, the final thing I want to show you is halos. I've got a video for basic halo stuff, so we're going to figure out how we can do that with two staffs. Now, the coolest one I think, is this one. End up in this little cool one beat behind the back. But it's just a halo, and catch it with the same hand, but behind the back like that. Bing. You can also do it halo, catch it across the shoulders. Like that. The halo is actually pretty good for same direction stuff, because that same move we just did, but in same direction. And this version, like that. But then something that's also cool about the halo is if you kind of like fudge the timing a little bit right here, you can, you might not even need to fudge the timing, but you could do a pass like that. You end up in this split direction here. Split time here. But that's really cool for tosses, for a shower toss. You can do like a few halos, a toss, a few halos, a toss, stuff like that. And that's a pretty neat series of tricks, and it's a cool way to incorporate the halo in there, you know. Boink, boink. Let's see if I can think of any other easy one. Okay, and then one more thing to touch on is if an intro to staff-on-staff contact. One of the things that's weird about spinning horizontal with double staffs, because single staff there's a lot of horizontal contact stuff like steves, matrices, things like that. The reason it's hard is because it's weird to try to spin this one horizontally, and if you're spinning it in two different planes at once, it tends to like maybe connect and click around. So when you start to get into the horizontal contact moves, a really good thing to learn is staff-on-staff contact. That's a lot like devil sticks, that kind of thing. So you can, I'll show you a couple more things, all right? The first thing you need to know for horizontal contact stuff, and which will carry over into the staff-on-staff stuff, is neck, boom. You can do that. Or while it's there, you can switch, catch it with the other hand, like that. But just get familiar with having that center point on your neck, and eventually you can start like dodging it and adding rotations on your head. A trick for that move, one more, before I get into this, like you can also put it on your shoulder, and if it's spinning at about this rotation, then you'll start spinning in that rotation when you put it on your shoulder, and it'll just basically stall it out. If you stop, it'll move to the other shoulder, or rotate, or you can just stall it out like that. So that's kind of cool because you can do something like with your other staff, flop around, make a joke, ride it like a horse, Whatever you want. It's silly, but it works. You can also just hold it here and freak out with your other staff. And if you're just holding it, you can do like a steve, toss, pass, complete your steve, that kind of thing. Now let's get into some staff-on-staff stuff. This is a weird one, but basically just like put your staff over, let it flop over that one, boom. See how I'm using my finger to guide it, like that. As soon as it's about up and down, rotate this staff so that it's falling over it again, like that. It's kind of weird, but check it out. Boom, boom. So I switch which hands each staff's in. Boom, then I switch like that. So that's a cool move because you can start using that up high. Like if I do a steve, I could take it and do like that. That was just that move, but I'm doing it up above my head. So you can start taking what you already know of contact and mixing it in with that staff-on-staff stuff. Another steve staff variation thing would be like if you went bring your steve all the way around, and then you can try to do that kind of stuff all of these moves, crossing things. And then there's things called, can't remember what they're called, but basically the idea is you pinch the staff right there. So that gives you a little bit of control. If things start to get kind of out of control, you can, caging maybe it's called caging, I don't know. But that's really getting a little more complicated than I intended to with this video. There's a bunch of stuff out there. A lot of people that are really good at staff-on-staff contact. I'll get some of those links in the description or something. But that's a rabbit hole that's even too, it's insane. So explore it and have fun.